a silent film?
Okay, today we are going to be reviewing. I'm recording this and I'm posting it so that you guys have access to it at home. Deal? Okay. Because many of you are confused on how to do this. So the very first thing I want everybody to do is I want you to get out your 2, 3, 4 review packet. Your review packet. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If you know how to do this right here, then you will be fine. 2, 3, 5. No, it should not be. 2, 3, 5 review worksheet packet. It's in there. It's what you guys. Sorry. This one? Yep. That's what I want. Okay. All right. The test. This is a longer version of the test. If you know how to do this packet, you will be fine for the test. When is the test? The test is tomorrow and Wednesday. You will have a 2-day test over this. Yes, 2-day test. It'll be Wednesday and Thursday.
Will it be different paper or will it be the same paper?
It'll be a paper test. It'll look very much like this test. I literally will keep the same format. There will be no surprises on the format. The directions will be the same. The problems will be different.
So we're talking 3 pages.
We're talking a 2-page test.
Okay.
It's a 2-page test, okay? Any questions? Very first thing you have to do is problem number 1. The directions say to do what?
Divide.
Directions say divide each of the following polynomials. Now, when can you use synthetic division? When you are dividing by degree 1. I'm dividing both number 1 and 2 by degree 2. So since I'm dividing both of these by degree 1 and 2, I cannot do synthetic division. I have to do long division. So I'm going to do number 1 here and show you exactly how to do that. So this is going to be...
Excuse this interruption. Those students who are skipping Algebra 1, Part 2, of course, now, please report to the book I wrote this.
Okay, so 2x squared plus 1 goes on the outside, and notice I put a placeholder of 0x in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on that inside. X to the 4th plus 0x cubed plus 3x squared plus 0x plus 1. Yes? Now, what am I going to multiply 2x squared by to get an x to the 4th, I should say?
1/2 x.
I have to cancel out the 2. So what do I multiply 2 by to cancel it out? 1/2. What do I multiply x squared by to get x to the 4th? 1/2 x squared. 1/2 x squared. Yes? So distribute 1/2 x squared times 2x squared is going to be x to the 4th. That's going to be plus 0x cubed. Plus 1/2 x squared. Then change the signs. This cancels, this cancels. 3 minus 1/2. 3 minus 1/2 is 2.5. What is that in improper fraction?
5/2.
5 over 2x squared. And bring everything else down. Now, your brain needs to understand this. What am I going to multiply 2 by to get a 5 over 2? Well, literally, say 2x is equal to 5 over 2. How? Divided by 2, that's the same thing as multiplying by half. So x has to be 5 over 4. That's what you're multiplying by. How do I know that? Well, the way I know that is by taking 2 times 5 over 4. That's going to give me 10 over 4, which reduces down to 5 over 2, which is what I need. So we're going to simply multiply this thing by 5 over 4. Yes? So 5 over 4 times 2 is going to be 5 over 2 x squared plus 0x plus 5 over 4. Yes? Okay, next, I'm going to change the signs to all of these. Those cancel, those cancel. This is going to turn into a 4 over 4 minus a 5 over 4 to give me negative 1/4. Yes? To give me negative 1/4. So, my answer that I'm going to have here is going to be 2 2x squared plus 1 times 1/2 x squared plus 5 over 4 minus a 1/4 times the divisor, 2x squared plus 1. That is the answer. Now listen to me very carefully. I probably will not have one like this on the test tomorrow where you have fractions as your coefficients. I'll probably give you whole numbers. On the review sheet, I made you think harder by making you do long division with them. Do we all understand that? That's your divisor. This is right here. Then you're going to have this. And actually, never mind. Math Excel, I think, probably lets you write it like this. And I did too. You're right, Sam. I did not make you write it like that. You're right. I was thinking of the previous example that we did on section 2.3. So thank you for correcting me on that. Okay. That's problem 1 and 2. So then, the next section of problems is going to be problems 3 through 4, or 3 through 6. Perform the indicated operations. So right here, I'm simply going to, on number 4, just drop the parentheses around the first one, distribute the negative on the second one. Yes? What is negative 6 and negative 29? Negative 35. Oopsie. And then negative 37i and negative 136i is negative 173i. Does everybody understand number 4? Yes? Visual or verbal that you all get it? Okay, what are you going to have to do with number 5? Foil them, right? So if you foil them, 2 times 13 is 26 plus 10i minus 130i and then minus 50i squared. What should your brain immediately look for? What's I squared equal? So that makes this become a plus 50. So 50 plus 26 is 76. 10i minus 130i is going to be minus 120i. Yes? Number 6, I'm going to do over here because there's not a lot of room. Okay, when you have this problem, what should your brain do immediately? What should we multiply by?
2 plus 7i.
The conjugate. So this is going to be 2 plus 7i. What you do to the bottom? You do to the top. So you're going to put parentheses around here. I'm going to foil the top. Negative 12 minus 42i plus 32i and then plus 112i squared. All over. When I distribute the bottom and foil, I only have to do first and last. And then what is your brain supposed to be doing there? Yes?
Get rid of the r squared.
Yep. So this 112i squared turns into what?
Minus 112.
And this is going to turn into plus 49. So negative 12 and negative 112 is going to give me negative 124. Negative 42i and 32i is going to give you?
Negative 10.
All over 53. And you are done. Do we all understand 3 through 6 now? Yes or no? 3 through 6. We all good? Yeah.
So for 3, the plus, you only add the 13. You don't.
You add combined like terms. Pretend the I is a variable. So 5i minus 10i is negative 5i.
You go back to 6.
Okay, we got to keep moving here, guys. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this problem right here, 7 through 10. 7 through 10, it says determine the type of roots the following polynomial equation will have. Rational, irrational, imaginary, or double root. Hint, b squared minus 4ac. So immediately, I'm going to add the square root to it, and I'm just going to plug and chug. So this is going to be 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 8. So that's 25 plus 4 times 2 is 8 times 8 is going to be 64 to give me, what is the square root? What's 25 and 64? 89. What is the square root of 89? Is that a perfect square? No. Is it negative? No. Is it 0? No. So what's that going to give me? What type of roots? Nope. 2 irrational. Imaginary means it's less than 0. It's negative. Do we understand number 7?
Why did you start off with the square root?
Because once our brain sees the square root, as soon as we see that it's negative, we're like, oh, if we take the square root of a negative number, that puts me in the imaginary number system, so I keep that square root so your brain recognizes it's imaginary. In this case, it was positive, and since it was not a perfect square, it had to be irrational. So let's do number 8. How does number 8 different than number 7? It's not equal to 0, right? I have to make it equal to 0 by bringing the 5 over. Do we see that? So now I'm going to do the same thing. B squared minus 4 times A times C. B squared is 16 minus 4 times negative 4 times negative 5. So that's 16. 3 negatives is a negative. 4 times 5 is 20. Times 4 is 80. So what is 16 minus 80? Negative 64. So what is your brain supposed to be saying at this moment? 2 imaginary because it is a negative, and can you take the square root of a negative number and be in the real number system? No. Do we all understand what I expect you to do on the test? Please, everybody, look over here on the bulletin board, orange poster by Kyler. That orange poster is your quadratic formula, and it talks you through every single thing I just talked about. So if you have a brain fart tomorrow, what should you look at? Orange poster. Okay. Next page. Going on down to problem 11, 12, and 13. 11, 12, and 13. So let's go ahead and do number 11. Number 11. All I want to know is determine if x plus k is a factor of p of x by doing synthetic division and state the remainder. So if I'm doing x minus 1 half, set that equal to 0, so x is equal to 1 half, yes? So 1 half goes in the half box. Then I'm going to have up there 2, negative 7, 5, negative 3. Remember to check. Degree 3, 2, 1, 0. Am I missing any? No, I'm not, so I start the process. Drop down the 2. 2 times a half is going to be 1. Plus negative 7 is negative 6. Times a half is negative 3. Plus 5 is a 2. Times a half is 1. Plus a negative 3 is a negative 2. What can you conclude? Did I add everything right there?
That's what I got.
Okay. So, what is my factor? Is this a factor, yes or no? No, it is not. So, therefore, what is my remainder? Negative 2. Do we all understand that, yes or no?
Factors equal to 0 is the remainder then?
Yes. Okay, let's scroll down here and do number 13. Why am I doing 13? Because guess what am I doing synthetic division at? X minus 3 minus 2i is equal to 0, so x is equal to 3 plus 2i. That's what goes in the half box. Yes? That's what goes in the half box. So I have 1, negative 5, leave space, 7, 13. Check your powers, degree 3, 2, 1, 0. I am not missing any powers. I pull up my graphing calculator, and I let my graphing calculator do the math for me. I drop the 1. 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2i. Please note where I put the 2i. It is to the right of the real number. So that's negative 2 plus 2i. At this point, I'm going to pull up my calculator. Yes? And I'm going to have a calculator page, and I'm going to be having 3 plus 2i times negative 2 plus 2i.
You.
That's a problem. Thank you. Times, what did I say it was?
Negative 3 plus 2i.
Thank you. And I hit enter. So that's going to be negative 10 plus 2i. And I'm going to add 7 to that to give me negative 3 plus 2i. However, I'm going to come back to my calculator. I'm going to say plus 7. And then I'm going to say times, parenthesis, 3 plus 2i. Letting my calculator always do the math for me. I come back over here. I'm going to get negative 13 to give me 0. What degree is this? Just so that we are aware. It would be degree 3 or degree 2. But what is it asking me to do? Is this a factor, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And how do I know? Because my remainder is 0. Do we understand 11, 12, and 13? Wonderful. Turn the page. 14 and 15. I promise you will have these on the test tomorrow. You need to make sure that you know how to do these. So I'm going to go ahead and do another page here, and I'm going to do problem 15. Root 1 is negative 5. Root 2 is going to be 2 plus I. And then root 3, it says it's going to be 2 minus I. As soon as you see the imaginary roots, you need to check for what?
Multiplicity.
The conjugate. The conjugate. If I have 2 plus I better have its conjugate. What's its conjugate?
2 minus.
Do I have that in here? Yes, so I know I'm okay. Okay? If I do not have the conjugate, I need to list it in there and I need to have it. So at this point, I'm going to just go straight out. I'm going to say x is equal to negative 5, x is equal to 2 plus I, and x is equal to 2 minus I. Bring over this by adding it. And then this right here is going to be married together to give you an x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus I. Yes? How do you get rid of the plus or minus? Square both sides. This you're going to write down twice. And this is going to be I squared. X minus 2 times x minus 2 is x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equal to what value? Negative 1. Bring this 1 over by adding it. So this is x squared minus 4x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now what am I going to do with these two? I'm going to FOIL those, yes? So that is going to give me x plus 5 times x squared minus 4x plus 5. So I'm going to distribute that x. So that's going to be an x cubed minus a 4x squared plus a 5x. Now I'm going to do the 5. That's going to be a 5x squared minus 20x plus 25. And I'm going to add straight down here because I already lined up my terms. And that is the polynomial that I'm looking for. I guarantee you will have imaginary roots on your polynomials. Yes? Okay, that brings us to the meat and potatoes of this test. And we're going to go ahead and skip down to do problem number 20. So problem 20. Because they're all the same. So let's go do problem 20. Okay, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, what is P? 24. So what are all the factors of 24? Plus or minus? Whoa. Don't know what happened there.
Will we be allowed to use calculators?
You will be able to use calculator soup on here. So if you want to use calculator soup, what do I expect you to do? I expect you to come over here and type in there 24 and hit enter, and it'll give you all of your roots. I strongly suggest you do it. You with me? So we're going to come over here. We're going to write those all down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Yes? What are all my factors of 8?
1, 2, 4, 8.
Then I expect you to give me the entire list here. And how did we do that? I took 1 and divided them all by 1. So that one's done. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide them all by 2. So that's going to be 1/2. 2 over 2 is already there. 3 over 2. 4 over 2 is already there. 6 over 2 is already there. 8 over 2. Those are all repeated. So that one's done. Then I'm going to do all multiplied by 4. So that's 1/4. 2/4 is already in there. 3/4. And then 4/4 is already in there. 6 over 4 is 3 over 2. 8 over 4, the rest of them are all there. And then lastly, I'm going to do 1/8. And then 3/8. Yes? And then the rest of them would all be repeated. Yes? Do we all understand that? That is a point each one of those. Do we all get that on the test? That's a point for every one of those. Okay? Next, I'm going to do Descartes. So how many sign changes do I have here? 1, 2, 3. So how many positive roots am I going to have? 3 or 1. Yes? Negative. How do I do my negative sign changes? Which powers change signs? So negative 8x to the 5th minus 30x to the 4th plus 27x cubed plus 72x squared minus 22x and minus 24. So how many sign changes there? Negative to negative, no. Here's 1. Here's 2. So how many negative do I have? 4.
0.
Very good. So 2 or 0. So 3 is paired with 2. 3 is paired with 0. 1 is paired with 2. 1 is paired with 0. Does everybody see what I just wrote there? How many grand total have to be in there? 5 for every one of those. So how many are left to be imaginary on the first one?
0.
On the second?
2.
On the third?
3. 4.
Can you ever have an odd number in your imaginary column? No. So if you screwed up and you have an odd number there, you know immediately you need to go back and fix that. Each row is a point on the test. Do we all understand that? Okay, so after I'm done with this, what do? I graph it. So I'm going to come over here to Desmos, and I'm going to type in
8x to the 5th
8x raised to the 5th
minus 30x to the 4th minus 27x to the 3rd plus 72x squared plus 22x minus 24.
Now, what's my viewing window? We did not write that down over here.
Negative 25, positive 25.
I would immediately put in here negative 25 to 25 so that your brain understands that. So whenever I come back over here and I say, hey, I see all 5 roots there, don't I? So if I touch my graph, immediately I see 4, 1/2, and negative 3/4. Do you see this negative 1.414 and this 1.414? Those immediately should trigger your brain that it's a plus or a minus a number. A plus or a minus a number that you can visibly see tells you it has to be irrational, not imaginary. Imaginary means it's not going to cross. If you can see them and they're one's positive and one's negative, they're irrational. Okay? So if I go back to my problem here, this also tells me that I'm going to have 2 negatives and 3 positives. So I need to do synthetic division at 4. What else do I need to do synthetic division at?
1.5.
And what else?
Negative 3/4.
Negative 3/4. So I'm going to run out of space there, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do synthetic division. At 4, and this is going to be an 8, a negative 30, negative 27, 72, 22, and negative 24. The next one I'm going to do synthetic division at is going to be a half. And the last one I'm going to do synthetic division at is negative 3/4. Does everybody understand that? Drop the 8, that gives me 32. Add, that gives me a 2. This gives me an 8. What's negative 27 and 8?
Negative 19.
Negative 19 times 4 is going to be? Negative 76 plus 72 is going to give you a negative 4 times 4 is going to give you a negative 16. This is going to give you an 8 to give you a positive 24 to give you a 0. What degree is this polynomial?
You started with this and that's 4.
So that's degree 4. So we're going to do it again. Drop the 8. Half of 8 is 4. Add them, that's 6. Half of 6 is going to be 3. Add them, gives you negative 16. Half of that is negative 8 to give you a negative 12. Half of that is going to be? That is not right.
That's a 6. The 29.
I did not write this correct. Thank you. See how we found out real fast we messed up there? So this should be a 6. I did the math in my head, and I just didn't write the right number. So that gives this a negative 6 to give me a 0. What degree am I at? Degree 3. So we're going to do it again. Drop the 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. That gives me a 0. This gives me a 0. This gives me a negative 16. A double negative is a positive. 16 divided by 4 is 4 times 3 is 12 to give me a 0. What degree am I now? Degree 2. That means this is 8.
8x squared minus 16.
8x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. So how do I solve that?
You add 16 and then divide both sides by 8. And then take the square root of both sides.
So x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. Now check this out. If I put the square root of 2 in there, do you see it's there?
0.41.
They're the same. Yes? It's the same. We can see them. So that's where you know you're right. You have checked it on that on Desmos. I know I'm good to go. So then my final answer is root 3 is going to, or root 4, sorry, is going to be the square root of 2. And root 5 is going to be negative square root of 2. So how do I write this in its complete factored form?
X
X minus 4.
X minus 1/2. X plus 3/4. X minus square root of 2. X plus square root of 2.
And you guys wonder why I have to.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter the order. I could care less which parenthesis is in which order as long as you write it in its complete factored form. Do we understand number 6? Okay, and that brings us to the last types of problems that we're going to have, which is going to be the last page. And I'm going to do problem 22 for you. Are you ready? Okay, if you graph this, they're all going to be imaginary or irrational. And since you don't know your irrationals, you have to do synthetic division at what I'm giving you. So if I know root 1, I also know root 2. What is my root 2?
5 minus I.
The conjugate, which is 5 minus I. Do we all understand that? So you are going to do synthetic division at 5 plus I and 5 minus I. And this is going to be 1, negative 10, leaving space, 23, 30, and negative 78. Yes? Make sure you're not missing any powers. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I know I'm good to go. Yes? Drop down to 1, multiply, 5 plus I. Add straight down with the real numbers, that's negative 5 plus I. Come over to your calculator. Parenthesis, 5 plus I. Arrow to the right, times negative 5 plus I. Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah? And hit enter. That gives you negative 26. Always letting the calculator help you out. And this is going to give you negative 3. But again, I'm going to go back to the calculator. I'm going to say add 23 to that, wasn't it?
3, just 3.
Add 23.
26.
Yes.
Oh.
To give us the negative 3, because then we're going to multiply that answer by 5 plus I. And hit enter to give me negative 15 minus 3I. And that's going to give me 15 minus 3I. But again, I'm going to go ahead and add 30 to that so I can see that. So my calculator already has that calculation in there. And I'm going to do times 5 plus 5, or just I, isn't it?
Yes.
And hit enter. And that gives you 78, which is what we need it to be, to give me 0. Yes? Now we're going to do it again, dropping this down. I'm going to have 5 minus I. That gives me a 0. This gives me a 0 to give me a negative 3. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 3 times negative I is plus 3I to give me a 0. Remember when you do synthetic division the second time with complex numbers, it's so much easier, right? What degree is this finally down to? This dropped it down to degree 3, and the final one dropped it down to degree 2. So this is going to be x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. X squared is equal to 3. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. What if I could not solve this straight out like this? What would I be forced to use? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Many of you are missing that 2. Okay? So, what is my root 3 now?
Square root of 3.
Root 3 is going to be the square root of 3, and what is root 4?
Negative square root.
Negative square root of 3. So now, what is the complete factorization? X minus 5.
Minus I. X minus 5 plus I. X minus the square root of 3. X plus the square root.
Do we understand that, yes or no? Are we getting it? If you know how to do this, everything I've shown you on this review, you are set for the test. How do you study for tonight's test, for tomorrow? Finish your Math Excel. Make sure you get all green check marks. Show your work on that Math Excel. Go ahead and finish this lovely little review. Check your answers. They're posted online. If you're confused, get out more paper, redo problems. Get out a marker, a dry erase marker. Go to your window and write on your window. Go to your mirror, write on your mirror. Or grab your dry erase board and use it. Practice, practice, practice. Any questions over what I just went over with you?
So we don't have to finish this?
You do have to finish this for homework.
Okay.
Also, midterms are Friday. If you have 0 missing assignments on Friday, you will get extra credit for the midterm. Am I clear? I am done. Yes.
That means it'll be graded by then or turned in by then?
Nice try. I need everything done because we're moving on Friday. So by Friday, everything has to be graded by me whenever I submit a grade. for midterms, okay?